So shall we get to know Burt a little bit more?
Yeah, very nervous.
Are you?
Well,
Why?
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Stan. I'm a little nervous, but I'll be okay. Now you can talk. Go ahead.
He's usually the man behind the camera.
Okay.
Yeah. But here's what fascinates me most about Burt is the fact that, and we'll get into like all the television shows and everything that you've executive produced, but it's the fact that you are, and I can relate because I'm a fangirl, you're an inner fanboy. It was your love of, do you know that term, fanboy?
No. Fanboy sounds a little gay.
It's not, and that's okay if it is, and that's okay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
it's okay.
and that's okay.
Let me do it again. It sounds a little gay, and that's okay.
Yes,
right, okay.
Yes, I love that.
Okay,
and here's the thing: when you are a fanboy or a fangirl, you love whether it's for you, it's Howdy Doody. For me, I guess it could be like Young and the Restless, or it could be like The Walking Dead or Breaking Bad. But your love of Howdy Doody and Ventriloquist Dolls and that TV show.
Ventriloquist? It's V-E-N, so it's Ventriloquist.
Oh, wait, but you don't know this about me. I mispronounce things all the time.
Oh, hold on. I don't know this about you.
I get away with it on Dr. Drew.
No, you don't. You're assuming we don't see that.
Why did you tell me?
Well, because it's more fun this way.
Okay, well, these two always tell me when I mispronounce things. So it's Ventriloquist Dolls?
V-E-N.
Okay, Ven. So your love for Ventriloquist Dolls and Howdy Doody.
It's okay. We'll be
I said Ven. You know what, Brett? Screw you.
I'm just trying to make you a better person.
So your love for Ventriloquist Dolls and Howdy Doody is what inspired you to get into television in the first place. Why Howdy Doody?
First of all, let me correct you. I don't have dolls. Okay? Okay, going back to what we talked about a minute ago.
What you call them?
I don't have dolls.
Okay, what do we call
them? They're
them?
called ventriloquist figures.
Okay.
And now, why Howdy Doody?
Yeah.
Well, because when I was growing up, that was like it was like the first show I remember as a little kid, and it wasn't on film. It was actually taped, but it looked live, and I was fascinated at 10 years old, and I guess let me try and do this quickly. So I was at school, and someone actually said that Buffalo Bob, who was the host of the show, bought a liquor store. And which made no sense. It would be like Pee Wee. Well, I would say Pee Wee Herman bought a liquor store. Maybe that wouldn't make sense. But back then, it wouldn't have made any sense. And so I asked where was the liquor store, and someone said in New Rochelle. That's where I went to school. I was standing in New Rochelle.
Wow.
So I did a little research and found out at 10 where the liquor store was. I got on the bus, didn't tell my parents, and to see Buffalo Bob, who I only saw in the box on television.
And you thought he would just be hanging out at this liquor store?
Well, they said he bought it. So at 10 years old, yeah, I thought he'd be hanging out at the liquor store. So I got on the bus, which at 10 years old, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go home after school.
Probably also not supposed to go into liquor stores.
That too. So I found the bus. It was the M bus, by the way. And I took it, and I got to this other part of New Rochelle, the north end, and got off the bus. And as I'm telling you this, I can picture it. And there was a big sign that said Liquors. And I walked in, because that's what it says outside the liquor store. Unless you're in the Midwest package store or something, I think. But anyway, so I walk in, and I said, the counter was like to my chin, and I said, is Buffalo Bob here? Not, can I have a bottle of scotch or vodka? Is Buffalo Bob here? And there was a man that had black horn-rimmed glasses and was dressed normally and looked at me and said, I'm Buffalo Bob. And I thought, it can't be.
What?
But I thought it can't be. He didn't have his buffalo suit on that he wore on television. He wore like a Western kind of outfit. But as he began to talk to me, I heard the voice was very identifiable, and I thought, to myself.
He manned the cashier?
Well, you didn't know him. He was by that register, yes, no question.
That's awesome.
And to make a long story short, we got to know each other, and I used to go there all the time. And then one day he gave me like 25 tickets to the show. Now let me tell you, because you're both so interested, how important this was to get tickets. This show was so popular that mothers who were going to give birth and knew they were pregnant would write for tickets then. So by the time their kid got to be like 5 years old.
Yeah.
You don't know the Howdy Doody Show.
He just gave me tickets.
What's also really interesting is that your love for Howdy Doody connected you with somebody else who had a love for Howdy Doody in college. Please tell everybody who that person is.
And let's be honest here, you just found this out last night.
When I was doing my research.
Last night. I was driving in the car and Sam called me and said, you know Andy Kaufman?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, Andy and I were best friends.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were both in school together. Andy, I did this little show on the station, the school station called the Graham Spotlight.
Joan Rivers was a guest.
Yeah, and
on his little college station.
I was crazy.
Yeah.
And so I got, I got people to do the show. Andy knocked on my door one day at school and said, I do stuff, very quiet, by the way, very quiet. I imitate Elvis, and I have this character called Foreign Man, which later became Latka on Taxi. Could I come on? Well, I mean, there weren't people breaking down my door to come on the show.
Was this your dorm room door?
Yeah. So, if you could breathe, you were pretty much on the show.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how we booked it. So Andy came on, and the first thing he did was he told a story about meeting Elvis. And he told me ahead of time what it was going to be. And I said, fine. And then when we got on the air, this story became longer. And it just like he drew it out. And then finally, we had to go. And he hadn't met Elvis yet. So I said, that's what he did. You got to come. I said, you got to come back next week. Well, he did. And that began a great relationship. But Sam referred to Howdy. When he found out that I knew Buffalo Bob and all that, he freaked. It was his favorite show. Aww. His favorite show.
It united you two. The love of Howdy Doody.
The love of Howdy and the love of 50s television. And we were just inseparable, close friends. Right to the end, I was the first one to put him on national television and give him his first.
What show was that?
It was called the Mike Douglas Show, which was not Michael Douglas, but Mike Douglas. Yeah, talk show. Because now you go, people go, oh, Michael Douglas had a talk show? No.
And again, we have so many more questions that you guys sent in that we're going to talk to Burt about in our Q&A. But also, when I was researching you last night, I learned so much about you. This is a really interesting story. Sammy Davis Jr. was a fan of Sally Jesse Raphael.
What?
And he wanted to come on your show. But then there was no fax machines. You thought someone was pranking you.
Right.
So how did you check to make sure it was him? This is interesting.
That's funny. You picked up on that. Oh, God. When we started the Sally Show, we started it in St. Louis locally. And then we built it into syndication and ended up in 200 markets. But one day I got a phone call from this woman, Shirley Rhodes, who was Sammy's manager, and said, Sammy watches the show. I didn't think anybody was watching the show. And now Sammy Davis watching the show. And he'd like to come on because she's going to be in St. Louis at the Fox Theater. And I said, this can't be. I mean, right, sure. So I said, could you, and I said, look, this is going to sound ridiculous, but could you write me a letter and just let me know that really, like with your letterhead and everything?
Like stationery?
Right.
Sammy Davis.
Right. Something that gives me proof. And so they did, and he was the first celebrity to come on the show, and he became a huge friend of the shows and of ours.
Nice guy?
Oh, I get emotional talking about him.
Oh my gosh.
He was the nicest, sweetest man. He surrounded himself with wonderful people, and there's more to tell you, but yeah, he was a great guy, and he was the first one.
So again, thank you to Burt Dubrow. For all of you out there, please leave your comments in the section below. We love you guys. We will see you all next time on Pop Trigger.